Hello and welcome back to our Android development course. This is chapter 1.6 and today we will be talking about functions and classes in Kotlin. Well, let's discuss what is going on here. In this example, we're defining a function which is called sayHello. This is the name. So after the keyword fun, we write the function name. That takes a single parameter of type string. This is the parameter, or in some other languages it's called argument, but you can call argument as well. Here could be like endless amount of parameters. So in our case it's just one parameter. The function simply prints a greeting message that includes the name parameter. So you can replace the name with anything you want and it will print different thing, or you can just execute this function again. So in general, here we see two things. First, this one is called function or function implementation, and this is function execution. So here we call this function and we can call it endless times. So for instance, say hello Mark and any other name, say hello Lily. Yeah, say hello Jana. Well, and when we execute it, we see all of those greeting messages here. So this is the basic example of the function. One thing is important to mention about functions is the return type. So in this case, say hello, return type is void or unit in Kotlin, which means nothing. So this function just executes and that's it. But some functions can return the specific type. Let's make a function calculate, and it receives two parameters, two numbers, number 1 and number 2. Then we can return the result, which is going to be int as well. So here, after this dots, I specify the return type, and then we can write the return keyword and return, for instance, sum. Let's rename it to sum. Something like this. And here we can also execute our function. Let's write println and we write sum 2 and 2. Okay, looks good. Let's try to execute this. Yeah, here we have 4 as the result. In the same time, we can create a new variable and equalize it to to some function, something like this. So we need val, which is the final variable, and let's call it result. And here we write sum 2 and 2, and then we can print the result. And yeah, basically result is the same. I mean, nothing changed, but we just created another variable. You can obviously create some unit result here
and try to print it. Let's check what's gonna happen. I think okay, yeah. It just types the type of the result from the function. So by default, this looks like this, returns unit. But as it's default one, we don't need to write it. Well, let's jump to the classes. So what are classes? Class is a blueprint for creating objects in Kotlin. You can define classes using the class keyword. I'll give you an example in a couple of seconds, but just to give more information, there is a real life example. So imagine like our life around us, and everything you see is basically an object. And this object contains some parameters which describes this object, like tree or car or human. So everything is the object, whatever is it alive or not. And this object, it has some certain amount of actions which this object can do, and those actions are actually functions in programming. So let's try to design a person, for instance. So I will clean this up so you can see what I'm doing. As I already said, we need to use keyword class. Let's call it person. And yeah, this is basically it. You already created a class, but now it's empty, and we can add some business logic in there. As I mentioned, class or object contains some parameters, and in case of person, we need to specify his name and his age, for instance. So in order to put this parameter into the class or initialize the object, we use a constructor, and this braces defines the constructor. And here we can write the parameters of this class and object in future. Let's write the name and for instance age. And age, it will be int. So now we can do something like this. We can create person 1, and we can create this object. It will be Andriy, and I'm 31 years old. Yes, so this is class and this is object. We can create lots of objects, obviously. We can create a person 2, let's call it Alex 10, yeah, and many other objects. Also, we can collect those objects into the lists, to the maps. We already had these lessons, so if you forgot lists or maps or sets, you can come back and check out the previous lessons. But for now, the object and the class are created. So also I mentioned about the functions, which are kind of describing actions, what this class can do. And in our case, probably person can say hello. Yeah, let's jump back to the previous example. This is gonna be function, which will just print some hello message. Like, hello, my name is... in Kotlin there is a nice feature in strings. You can use a $sign and directly call the object. I mean, not the object, the parameters of the class. And I am years old. So now we can execute this function. We can write person1, say hello, and let's check what's gonna happen. Run. Yes, probably println is undefined. Okay, let's do it other way. We can just return this as message, then we need to specify the type. Remove curly braces, and here we can do print line, say hello. Let's try again. Yeah, so as I executed this say hello function from object 1, we receive message from object 1. The same we can do for object 2. Let's copy this and execute say hello to object 2. And now we have 2 hello messages. So I would say it's pretty easy to understand when you see the real life examples and you imagine your code as some live model. So you kind of developing the some system, and our environment is also the system in general. More complex, obviously, but yeah, it looks and it works in similar way. Okay, let's jump to some to some tasks and try to complete some tasks. Well, here are our tasks. The first task is to write a function, calculate area, that takes 2 parameters, width and height, and calculates the area of a rectangle, returns the area as a double. And the second task is to write a class called car that has properties for the car's make, model, and year. The class should also have a function start engine, which returns a message that engine has started. So please stop the video and try to do it yourself. Well, in case of that you had some difficulties, we'll just complete the tasks together. Let's remove the code we have here and leave only main function. So the first task was to write the new function, which is calculate area. So as you know, first we write the name, the keyword fun, to define that we are creating a function, and we write the calculate area name of the function. As mentioned in the task, it will return double, and we need also 2 parameters, width and height. Which is also double, and height is also double. So the result will be multiply height. Now we can try to print our result here. Calculate area, like 2.2 and 3.5. Let's try to execute this function. And as you can see, we receive the double result of area of the rectangle with width 2.2 and height 3.5. Well, there is one handy thing. If you have function which is only one line of code inside and it returns something, we can simplify it a little bit. We can do this equal. So we replace braces to curly braces to, we can just remove them and replace return to equal sign. Let's try if it works. Yes, this works. So now it's more simplified. This was the task 1, and the second task was to create a class called car, and we had to create a function start engine, which will return a message that engine has been started. So let's start from creating class car. We need to use keyword class to define that we are creating class. Those braces specify the constructor, and here in the constructor we need to pass two parameters: the model and actually there was a make which was string, and then model also string, and finally year of production, which was int. And now we can create a function. The same as for calculate area, we write fun keyword and we write function name start engine, and as in previous example we can just write equal and write this message. Make model and year engine started. Well, now let's try to check how it works. Let's create car object. Let's call Audi car, and we create this car object where make is Audi, the model is for instance TT, and year 2006. And now we can execute finally our start engine function. But we will not see anything without println that we are printing into our console. Okay, looks good, right? So now we run the code. Takes a while, but yeah, looks great. If you had difficulties, you can also check this lesson again and try your own task You have like lots of options. You can create any type of objects. You can create endless functions. You can play with them. This is something like huge place. That's why it's called playground, where you can basically play with all the Kotlin features, and those features will be definitely used during the Android development. So this is it about functions and classes. I hope you liked the lessons, and please hit the subscribe button and leave your comment in case if I had some mistakes in my lesson, or you like something or you don't like something. This will definitely help me to improve my lessons, and it will help also to spread this video, and maybe more people can see this, and maybe more people can learn something about Kotlin programming. Yeah, and I wish you all the best, and see you in the next lesson.